Hey, this is your boy Soul Touch from Southern Treasures Productions. I'm gonna just make this video in response to an earlier video I made on using the X32 and Ableton as a 32 track recorder. I gave a little misinformation on one of the responses. I advised that you can use the left right output to record into Ableton under the two channels. I was mistaken. The X32 is a 32 in, 32 out card. So if you're using the card, you have 32 inputs, 32 outputs, and those are assigned. I tried reassigning those channels, but they're assigned to the 32 first 32 channels of the X32. So what I'm gonna do is show you how to take those 32 channels from the X32 and record them into one channel or two channels if you choose into Ableton. Okay, so first thing we do is as you can see, I have my X32 mic input that's coming into 7, and I have my template up for my 32 channel record session. But for those of you who are just coming in, if we go into the card, like I said, the X32 card is a 32 in, 32 out configuration. You can actually change it for 16 in, 16 out, 32 in, 8 out, and 8 in and 32 out. But in this case here, we're going to set it up for the 32 in, 32 out. Then we're going to go over here into Ableton, and then we go into options, preferences, and then we go to input configuration. Alright, and we have to make sure we highlight the 32 tracks because these are going to be the 32 inputs that we're going to be using. Okay, and all that's highlighted. So, next what we do, since we have our 32 tracks already set up into Ableton, what we want to do is we're going to group these 32 tracks and give them a main function. So we're going to be able to control all 32 tracks with just one slider once we get everything set up. Okay. However, keep in mind that since we're using the card as the input device, the X32 actually doesn't have any control over the input volume. It only has control over what's coming out of the X32, but not the X32 card. So my monitor speakers are hooked up. If I turn my volume up, you can hear my monitor come up. But if I turn them all the way down, I don't have my monitor. But it has no effect on the Ableton software over here. So what we have to do is if we go down here to my input, which is number 7, if we want to turn the volume down or up, we have to use the individual gains. And if you see over here in the master, if you turn your gains down, your master goes down as well. If you turn them up, then your volume goes up. Now, again, once we're going to be recording in here, we want to make sure that our levels don't peak. So we want to try to get to an optimal level when we're recording. If this peaks over here during recording, it's really no big deal because this is just your output. As long as you're not rendering this, it won't be affected because you can turn this down, the volume down, and it'll be fine. Your main focus is when you record, and you don't want to record into distortion over on your inputs. Okay, so now that we got that, what we're going to do is we're going to group. As you notice, like I said, track 7 is lined up with channel 7. So everything is lined up, but that's going to change once we make this into a group. So we go to our first channel, scroll all the way down to channel 32, and we're going to hold down the shift key, click the channel 32, that's going to select all the channels. If we right click, you see where it says group tracks or Control G. We hit that to group all the tracks. So now we have all 32 tracks grouped into one group. But if you notice on the 32 tracks now, where we are on channel 7, is now channel 7 is on line 8 instead of channel 8. Okay, so you can go back respectively and change these so you don't get confused. However, you know, with your channels, you can change to whatever you want them the name to, so it's not confusing to you. All right, but now that we got everything grouped, then what we need to do is create another track to record on. So we can create two, make one left and one right, but right now I'm just going to create one track and show you how to do it. So we're going to insert an audio track. Now we're going to rename this audio track to let's see, rename, which is also Control R. We're going to rename it to record, X32 record. So do X32 record. And then we're going to also change the color to like a bright blue to distinguish it from everything else. Now with group 1, we're going to change the name of this here to let's see, rename. Let's change this to X32 mixer. So we'll know that this group is actually all 32 channels of the mixer. Okay. Then we're gonna move this MIDI track over here. Okay, now we have our 32 tracks. So now what we want to do is we want to route all these 32 signals to that new record channel. And in order to do that, well, we'll come into our input outputs, all right, and we'll go into the mixer, and it says audio 2. We're going to send it to record, to X32 record, all right, and then we go to X32 record, and it says audio from. We want to get it from the mixer, so we'll switch this to X32 mixer. Now you see we have this coming in here, audio 2. Now we want to send this to master. Check 1 2. Now in order to get it to show up, don't forget you got to arm it. So we're going to hold down the control key and hit the arm button, and you can see now we have a signal coming in to X32. We have our monitor off, so if we turn our monitor to auto, then your light turns into a regular button. And again, since this is sending it to your master, we have this going to master. So if you look at your master, we now have a signal coming out of the master again. And if you turn the volume down, it affects the volume on the master. If you turn the volume up, it affects the volume on the master again. So now what would happen in a situation like this here, you would set your inputs, adjust your levels on your X32, and then now when your signal comes in, it's going to be routed, that one channel is going to be routed into your record, your X32 record, and you're recording into that one channel. And again, if you want to make it stereo, you can have two channels, one for the left, one for the right, and then on your inputs you can switch whatever you want to go to the left and to the right, however you want to configure it. But this will be the basic way, and you still have control over your inputs here, but you're recording onto the one track here. All right, and in my next video I'll show you how to actually incorporate, if you make your music into Ableton, I'm going to show you how to make your music into Ableton and also record from the X32 into Ableton. So we're going to integrate both the mixer hardware and the computer's hardware to do some full mixing and full recording. Thank you.